In this video, I'm gonna explain to you how to play Fatal Fury City of the Wolves.
Are you okay?
And I'm gonna do this in the most fast and efficient way I can, so you get prepared for the second beta that is coming on March 26th. I'm gonna be explaining the button system, system mechanics, and many other stuff, so stay until the end of the guide and let's actually start with it. Let's try to understand the button system of Fatal Fury first. Fatal Fury is a 4-button game. What this means is that we have the light and heavy versions of both kicks and punches, and those are all the buttons that we have. The game also has what we can call proximity normals, and what this means is that you can, for example, press heavy punch or heavy kick close to your opponent and get one specific normal, but if you're far away from them, you might get another type of button when you press heavy kick or heavy punch. So when the beta comes out, go to training mode and see if your character has specific proximity normals with heavy kick or heavy punch. Another key and fundamental thing about Fatal Fury that you need to understand is movement, okay? There's a ton of comments online that this game is slow from people that have played the game or watched gameplay, which is kind of a lie. If you feel that the game is slow, I will advise you for 3 or 4 things, okay? One, it is to run or dash. Do not walk. The walking animation in this game is very slow, but all characters have a dash or even a run, depending on which character you're playing. And not only that, but all characters have access to different type of jumps. So for example, if you dash or run and then jump, you do some sort of what we could call a super jump. And if you tap forward and up or only up, you do what is called a short hop in KOF games, which is a very short jump in. So try all of these movement options in the second beta, and I'm gonna assure you that the game is gonna feel a lot faster when you try it out. Let's now break the most fundamental system mechanics of this game, which are SPG and the REV system or REV Gauge. SPG is basically your God mode. You can have it at the start of the round, in the middle of your life bar, or as a combat mechanic at the end. And what SPG does is that 1, you do more damage when you're on SPG. 2, you have access to your cinematic super, or what we could call your level 3, and not only that, but you have access to REV Blow. And REV Blow is basically like Drive Impact on SF6, but it is a different version on this game, which is faster, it can be done in the air, and it's also vulnerable to grabs, for example, and supers, just like on SF6, but it's kind of harder to play against. So in that sense, I would advise that during the second beta, you should put SPG at the start of your life bar, so you constantly practice having access to REV Blow and using it, and basically have all the resources that the game can give you at the start of the fight. Then of course, we have REV Gauge, which is basically your main resource in this game. It goes from 0 to 100, and it allows you to do EX moves or enhanced versions of your special moves. In this game, the combo system is with EX moves, so you can do one EX into another and get huge combos. But the thing is, if you do too much EX moves, you're gonna get overheated, and in the overheat state, it is kind of similar to the one that we call burnout on SF6, and what happens is that you cannot do any EX moves, and you can also get guard breaks. So if you block a lot while you're on overheat, you're gonna get a guard break, and the other guy is gonna get a free open on you to do a huge combo. So try to have the best resource management strategy that you can with your REV Gauge, so you can have stable access to damaging combos, EX moves, and neutral to control it, and of course also do REV Blow, because REV Blow on SPG, our Drive Impact in Fatal Fury, also uses this specific resource. So try to avoid getting overheated. The only context in which I would overheat is to basically do a combo that does enough damage to win a round or a fight. But if you're not gonna win a round, please avoid overheating, because it's gonna cost you some matches. Now let's actually move into defense. This game actually has very good defense in comparison to other modern fighting games, so it is very relevant that you understand which defensive options you have and use them as efficiently as you can. The first key thing to understand on defense is that in this game you can block with different inputs. You can press back like in many other fighting games and block normally, or you can press a button that you can set on a macro to do REV Guard, okay? REV Guard is basically a block button, and one, it denies chip damage from special moves, so if you're about to lose a round and you don't want to get chip away, you can use REV Guard to basically face that problem. And not only that, but REV Guard also has push block, so if someone is doing very nasty, mix-ups on you, maybe try to use REV Guard a little so they get pushed far away and you can play some neutral again. The only problem with REV Guard is that it actually uses a ton of REV Gauge, so you should not use REV Guard too much. You should only use this block button on very specific situations in which you need to use push block to get the other guy far away, or to deny chip damage so you don't lose a round when you're about to basically lose a fight because you're very low health. And another detail that I almost forgot is that if you use REV Guard, you can block cross-ups. So if you think that someone is going to do a nasty cross-up on you and mix you up, maybe just REV guard instead of blocking normally. Then we also have two other main defensive mechanics, which are just defend and hyper defend, and they basically work like a parry, okay? If you press back to block right at the moment in which you're gonna get hit, and that can be performed in the air or at the ground, you basically get a just defend. And what happens with that is that one, you negate chip damage, and you can also have access to a guard cancel, and you can basically, for example, do a just defend and right away execute a special move or a super and hit the other guy because he's on recovery frames while you did your quote-unquote parry. And this is also applicable for hyper defending, which is a just defend but basically multi-hit. So just defend is for single hit situations, and hyper defending is the same but for multi-hit special moves or strengths. These two mechanics are probably going to be very strong on the full launch of the game, but they are a little hard to execute, so don't get too anxious or stressed if you can't do it consistently or well. You're still gonna be able to enjoy the game, and you don't need these two defensive mechanics all the time to have a good fight. Now let's move to the last topic, which is basically advanced offensive mechanics. This game has many of them, so let's break them one by one. The first thing is that this game actually has kind of an auto combo, and if you press a specific sequence of buttons, you get the auto combo for your character. And the thing is, the last hit of that combo can be changed manually to an overhead or a low. We don't know the frames on it, but it could maybe be a nasty mix-up that no one is using. So in training mode during the second beta, go and check out what is the auto combo for your character. Then we have breaking, which is a mechanic that allows you to cancel special moves so you don't do them completely. And people are using this for many different purposes. For example, some people are doing DPs and breaking them so they are safe on block. And not only that, but also some people are using the breaking version of special moves to do extended combos that don't use a lot of rep meter. So again, in training mode during the beta, see which special moves you can break with your character and which routes you can build with it for combos, and also maybe if you have a safe DP if you break it. Then we also have feints, which are basically kind of fake special moves or another type of canceling for special moves, and they allow you to do many different things. One, you can use it for combos, again, to do longer and more damaging combos. Two, you can also use it on neutral to have mind games. So for example, you can fake a fireball with a feint and then anti-air the other guy because he tried to jump in on you and get free damage or even a free combo if you have a DP that is breakable. So feints are key to have a very sophisticated offense. They can allow you to do more damage on combos, have longer block strengths that maybe leave you plus all the time and stuff like that. So check out the feints that your character has and see which special moves actually can do it. So maybe you can have a more sophisticated offense during the beta. In this game also, all characters have access to supers. So the two bars with a star that you can see below your REV gauge are your super bars. If you have one, you can do a normal super. If you have two, you can do a more powered up super. And if you have two bars and SPG, you can do your level 3 or cinematic super. Each characters have different inputs for the supers, so again, check your character out on training mode to see which supers they have access to during the second beta. And we finally got to the last two offensive mechanics, which are counter hits and dodge attacks. You need to understand two central types of counter hits, which are special move counter hits and also wild punishes. One of my favorite things in this game is that you can get counter hit on special moves. So watch out for this type of moments and get ready to confirm into a huge combo when you get a counter hit on any special move. And then we have wild punishes, which are basically big counter hits that you get when you punish someone for whiffing. So also use those properly because you can get huge damage and extensions because of the plus frames that you get with them. And finally, we have dodge attacks, which are pretty insane. Dodge attacks are basically a universal button that anyone can press, and depending on the direction that you do it, you can get an overhead or a low. And what happens with this is that it kind of actually works on a 3D space like in Tekken, because you can go above or below your enemy's attack and get a wild punish counter hit and get a huge combo because you guess with your dodge attack right. So you can do, for example, an overhead and go over the low that the other guy is doing, or the opposite with your low and the other guy's overhead or high, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of weird because it uses 3D space logic on a 2D game, but it's very, very interesting, and it's probably going to be very strong also. So this was my guide for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you complete the second beta and have a great time. And of course, I hope that this guide also helps you in the full launch of the game. And see you on the next video, guys.